Greetings, beloved Princeton United Methodist Church community. It's Pastor Jenny here, and I'm reading from the Message version of Psalm 88, the second part of verse 18. The only friend I have left is darkness. This is the word of life. Thanks be to God. So we are continuing in our Lenten series with Whom is my heart? Asking this question of whose heart are we carrying and being affected by? Who is carrying our hearts? Who do we let carry our hearts? And this week we look at Psalm 88, which is a heart-wrenching, heart-pouring out from someone who is immersed in darkness. Perhaps they are suffering from severe depression. Perhaps there have been other things happening in their lives where they feel there's just hard to see light, hard to see some people, hard to see connection. They're feeling so isolated, so alone, so hopeless. As we have been talking about solidarity, as we talk about this kinship, this kingdom of God that God invites us into always, this connection to be people to one another who carry one another's hearts, people who are in relationship with our neighbors, especially the ones who are hurting and need and suffering injustice, being in solidarity with those who are vulnerable among us, so that together we can create a more just society, world, community with God's help and God's grace. This is what we've been focused on, and in particular, as our as groups of people have come together over the past few months to talk about how we might walk particularly alongside people, our neighbors, be in solidarity with people in our community. We have discerned that it is particularly in this intersection of looking at mental health and economic health that we are being called to put our hearts, to put our relationships and our care in this way. And so this week, we do start to look more particularly at that mental health piece of things. So one of the things that we acknowledge is that all of us have mental health, just like all of us have physical health. And sometimes the state of our health, whether it's mental or physical, emotional, spiritual, can be wonderful and very healthy. And other times it is less so. Sometimes there's illness or there is disease, and often there is a lot of space kind of between the two, right? And so first, I invite you to consider what you think about when you think about mental health. What experiences have you had, either personally or in your own mental health or with others, when their mental health or yours have deteriorated some, that you have struggled with mental health? Maybe that means there's even been some kind of diagnosis around it, but that does not necessarily need to be the case for people who have struggled with mental health. In fact, I think that what we've seen over the past 5 years, especially since COVID, and so many things in our world, most of us have struggled in some ways with our mental health. And we certainly have been aware of people close to us who have been struggling in one way or another. We also know that there is this pervasiveness of loneliness in our world that is not new to any of us, but loneliness is a struggle with mental health in some ways. So, and in fact, mental health, mental illness, many of those diagnosable kind of mental illnesses, and also any of our struggles with mental health can isolate us even more. Some of this comes because the very working of that of our brain in these places is that it tells us that either we are unlovable and that we must separate ourselves from others, or that it is better for us, for some reason for us to be alone. There is something within our struggles with mental health that isolates us at multiple different kinds of levels. Indeed, it is in these struggles, in these places where we are struggling with mental health and others are struggling with it, that we need each other most, that we need to carry each other's hearts even more. This is hard, this is complicated, this is a challenge for us in our world all around, and yet it is part of this call to hold on to each other, to have this desire of God's heart for us to come together, to join together, to be one people, to seek each other out, especially when we are finding ourselves more isolated or finding each other more isolated, that we are called to come together, to know, not to try to fix all the darkness. That's not possible. We can do some things, but much of the time, what is most needed is just to help one another know that we are not alone, that we are not alone, that darkness is not our only companion. So I invite you to just ponder these things. Again, where have you experienced struggles with mental health, either in yourself or in those that you love? What kind of struggle has that been? How has that impacted you? What have you noticed as you ponder these things too? You might even become aware, as you think about these things, of stigma, discrimination, a difficulty or an awkwardness to talk about these things. This is all part of the isolating nature of mental health struggles. So my hope at this moment is just inviting us to be aware, to just let these things come to our consciousness and our prayerful existence these days. I do hope that you're continuing to follow along in our book. As you get to Sunday, you'll read the Psalm 88, just as I read for you, plus more of that text. Again, there are daily devotionals here, daily practices that come. I hope you also have your little heart. There are different colors and things. Maybe you've made your own or found your own. But just a reminder daily to ask that question: with whom is my heart? Who is God inviting me to move my heart toward? Whose heart am I being invited to carry? And who am I being invited to let carry mine as well? We do have one more of our Lenten listening to our hearts conversations. We have one this time that it's only in person. Because we are going to be going beyond the church. We are moving outside the church into our community. There will be walking options. So there's also a driving option if anybody would like to have that. If you are not local or not able to come, join us after church on Sunday for this listening to our community's activity. Then we can get you those materials so that you can do this wherever you are, whenever you would like to do it. So I invite you to that. We will have some light snacks and things so that to tide you over after church before we go out into the community. We'll have some instructions, some guides, and I trust that this will be a very fruitful exercise, prayerful exercise for us, a holy listening exercise for us. Remember that it is such a joy to be with you. It is a joy for me to be with you. Remember that you were created for joy. Remember that you are enough because God is enough. And I am so thankful for you and to be on this journey with you. I will see you soon.